I was there. I was there when the Jags beat the Chiefs for the first time in 16 years. I got this towel to commemorate it. They were giving them out as souvenirs, and I am a whore for a good towel. Actually, just for a really cool towel, like a souvenir. I got some at the Rays playoff game a couple years ago. I still have it to this day. I have the Jaguars playoff towel I got from a couple years ago. I love towels. We are freaking back. It's October 9th. It is our first episode. Nope, that's a complete lie. It's our second episode of October because we recorded last Thursday. So that I'm already literally 30 seconds in. We're already lying. So that's hot start, Andy. Hot start. But you see the hair moving a little bit because I got the fan on. It's a gloomy day here in Jacksonville, Florida, which it's kind of nice though. It's been rainy all day, off and on. It hasn't been too hot. It's been like in the mid 70s, I think, all day. It's actually felt really nice. I love it. It kind of looks like a fall day a little bit. It's still not fall weather at all, but I'll take it. Now, I did. This is a huge episode. We have a ton to go over, talk about sports wise, Andy thought wise, everything. But I gotta show you guys this. I've got obviously a Busch Light in the Florida Gators Cup. They had a huge win, and then I've got water to keep me hydrated, and so I don't just get too hammered on this episode. In the Jaguars Cup, also got this Monday night at the game. How about that? Freaking sick, man. I am just now realizing Tyson Campbell is on this cup right there, and the Jags just traded him last night. So that tough look. That kind of just means I need to go to another Jags game and get a new souvenir cups because you have to now roll out. You're obligated if you're the Jaguars. You have to roll out a new souvenir cup now, one without Tyson Campbell, preferably. I think you owe it to the fans, and just so it's not awkward, you owe it to your fan base, everybody, to even Tyson himself, to now come out with a new cup without him. So I'm putting it out there. I'm putting the Jags on the spot, but. Dude, what a freaking weekend of college football it was. I would say what a weekend of NFL football it was, but honestly, there was maybe 3 good games, if I had to guess. Yeah, right? I think so. The Eagles and Broncos ended up being a really good game. The Buccaneers and Seahawks was a really good game. And I guess you could argue the Patriots and Bills was a good game. Sunday Night Football. Patriots upset the Bills. So both the Eagles and Bills lost. Now there are no more undefeated teams in NFL, which is sick. So, and the Jags beat the Chiefs, so the Jags are now tied for the best record in the NFL, which is insane to think about, but here we are. MLB playoffs is still rolling. I know none of y'all care about that, but I do. The Yankees were just eliminated last night, so huzzah. America wins when the Yankees lose. Honestly, America's had a really good couple days. The Yankees got eliminated last night. The Chiefs lost on Monday Night Football. Who lost in college football that's like a big, is there like a big superhero? I don't know. Not really, no. None of the big superpowers lost this weekend. Penn State, your season is over. We could have said that before the season started, be honest. Like, not really. I mean, they were a prime playoff team. They were a playoff team last year. They made the semifinals. No one really expected them to make a run still, but after losing last 2 weekends ago to Oregon in overtime, and then they just got throttled. I know the score was close. They went to no, they didn't go overtime. I know the score was close, but they came out and got popped in the mouth by UCLA, who was winless. Not only was UCLA winless, they were coachless. They had an interim OC basically as the head coach. And up until Saturday, UCLA was the only team in college football that had not even led a game, not for a single second. They had not led a game this season. And you know what they did? Good old little Penn State travels out to UCLA. They're playing in the Rose Bowl, and they put up 42 on them. They led 10-0 before Penn State even touched the ball. So what a way to just say, hey, screw that stat and screw you, James Franklin. Your team's overrated as always. And we're gonna hand y'all a second straight loss. We're gonna get our first win, and we're gonna take you guys completely out of the playoff conversation. Like, this is it. Your season's over. Penn State, yeah, cool. You could win out and go 10-2. You're not winning out. You have to go to Ohio State and play in the Horseshoe, whatever the hell the stadium is, where you haven't won in like 10 years, I think, maybe even longer. It might actually be longer. And you also still have to play Indiana, who, I don't know, I think the nation's still kind of sleeping on Indiana, but I don't know why Indiana's might be favoring that game. I don't know who's going to be the home team. But speaking of Indiana, they have a huge game this weekend. They're going out to Oregon to play the Ducks. That I'm pretty sure that's college game day. If that didn't get college game day, I'm sorry, Kurt Signetti and the Hoosier Nation. Then there's just no way you can at that point. I mean, that's a top 10 matchup. That is this game. I say this every week about different games for different conferences because it's true. But this game has huge Big Ten championship implications. I mean, Penn State has just eliminated themselves from that conversation. Michigan, I believe, doesn't actually have a Big Ten loss yet. They lost to Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't really see them as a contender this year in the Big Ten. They just don't really seem like that caliber yet. So it really just in my opinion, it's going to boil down to Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. And I don't know if you guys know quick math, but the Big Ten championship only has 2 teams. So one of those 3 that I just listed won't make it, unfortunately. It's just a little bit of Andy math here to start the episode. I didn't actually plan on getting right into college football talk or really any sports talk right away. I actually had a lot to talk about that was just outside of sports that I think you guys would enjoy, but I kind of just went off on a tangent there. It's not a bad thing. But I did have in bold, I was planning on doing this on Tuesday. Didn't get around to it, unfortunately, which it doesn't matter. This is just going to be a huge episode tonight. And I already prepared. I went on the website I use to record and make all my clips and stuff. It will remain nameless because we are not sponsored by them. And that's ironic because I know I've dropped the name in a previous episode. So it's not like I have a digital footprint or anything. Of course, that doesn't exist, obviously. But I'm using the free trial version or the free version, whatever you want to play, the free subscription, maybe, that plan. And you only get 2 hours of content, basically. Like, you only get 2 hours of storage there. And so I have already gone ahead and deleted my old recordings and anything else in there because I fully believe this is going to go at least an hour and a half tonight. Easily. I'm pretty sure the last 2 episodes were either a little over an hour or right under it, hovering. And this one, we're basically trying to combine 2 episodes into one. And I know it's going to break an hour. I mean, the intro's already going this long. I don't even call this an intro. This is just the first segment of the talk show, Shed Talk. Welcome back to Shed Talk. I don't even think I said that yet, but we're here. We're back. So back to that main point that I was going to go off on is this was supposed to be obviously the Tuesday episode, and my goal was to obviously I got copyrighted. I got a copyright strike from YouTube last week when I played that intro song for No Joke 15 Seconds, and I don't really know what that means. I don't know if it's like a strike one. I don't know if there's like a strike system where you get a couple strikes and then they just come and kill you. Maybe, I don't know. They just come and pants me in public and that's my punishment. I don't really know. But the episode stayed up. The audio didn't get blurred, but I did read on my YouTube that they said because of this audio was playing that my episode was banned in multiple countries. And I felt like I didn't really know what that means. I don't really know why that's banned in certain countries. I don't know. But also, I feel like I'm obligated to know which countries. So why can't you? So as a company, YouTube, why are you only going to tell me that, hey, that is going to get you banned in some countries, just this episode, but we're not going to tell you which ones? Like, what's that supposed to mean? Am I banned in the U.S.? I mean, that's a pretty prominent country. I think that's basically the entirety of my audience. I don't think people in Switzerland are waking up at 4 a.m. bringing like, oi, oh, bro. I'm not, that's a terrible, that's not even a Switzerland. I don't even know why I did that, but, ooh, a new Shed Talk is dropped 4 a.m. Let's freaking go, baby. Honey, wake the kids. We got to listen to it. No, it's literally, I can guarantee you, all but 2 viewers of this Shed Talk, of this talk show are in Florida. There's one in Athens, Georgia. Thank you, Michael. And there's one in Kansas. Thank you, Connor. Although he might be going over the state line by the time he's listening to this. So I don't know. It could be a little dicey in terms of the statutory. But still, regardless, what countries? I think I'm obligated to know which countries that episode was banned in, because maybe this thing blows up one day and unbeknownst to me, I can't stream this in Portugal, or people in freaking France, enjoying their baguette don't get to hear me talk about college football or how am I ever going to get a girl to love me. Spoiler alert, no, but still they like to listen to it, and they still want to know. You know what I mean? Like, come on, YouTube, let's go, let's follow it up. But I got off on another tangent there. I was planning on starting this episode with the Michael Myers theme song, the dong, 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 and I was going to use that basically to celebrate / mourn the death of the Billy Napier era at Florida following a loss to Texas. Now, I should have seen this coming in hindsight because last season he did the same thing, and when Billy Napier has his back against the wall and his job security is on basically the hottest seat known to mankind, he just decides to win football games that he probably shouldn't. And that's exactly what he did. Florida upset number 9 Texas. Hey, don't say I didn't call this or preview this, basically foreshadow this a couple weeks ago when I said that Texas is really bad. Not really bad. They're very flawed. I thought Texas was very flawed. I didn't understand all this hype still, especially after the Ohio State game. And I called them an 8-4 team at best. I think I might have said 9-3, but I really was hinting at I really wanted to go with 7-5, 8-4 at best. Strictly because I didn't see them going 6-2 in the SEC. I really saw 4-4, 5-3. Arch Manning struggled immensely on Saturday. And look, you can fault everything. The O-line, like Florida's D-line, was just wrecking havoc. Florida's pass rush was just winning all game, it felt like. It literally was winning all game. It was insane to see, considering Florida was down over half their starters on defense. I believe out of the 11, personnel, out of the 11 players that are on defense at a time, 6 of Florida starters were out. And I think 3 of them were D linemen, 2 or 3 of them were D linemen. So it's a testament to the system. It's a testament to the depth of Florida and Florida's DC at just how much. This hair strand is really pissing me off. I can tell in the camera it's just standing up no matter how much I try to correct it. And it's really just grinding my gears right now. And I don't know what to do about it. But still, even when Arch Manning was given time, he missed quite a few wide open throws. They tried a trick play. They missed that throw. And then on just regular standard dropbacks, he was getting pressured to no avail. I mean, it was insane. I mean, Florida's D-line just kept winning. The pass rush just kept winning all night, blitz or no blitz. It was a treat to watch as a Florida fan, but still, I did fully intend on playing this music, and so, hey, maybe if Florida loses this weekend and next weekend and Billy Napier gets fired, completely forget everything I just told you 2-3 minutes ago, because the episode intro will include that. I promise you it will. And I'm really looking forward to it because I just want this era to be over with at Florida. I truly do. I really do. Let's take a sip of this first sip of the Busch Light of the night. Wow. Yeah, that tastes like a Busch Light. I'm a beer connoisseur, if y'all don't know. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I can taste the hops in that. Not at all. But I guess, you know what? Let's just keep going college football. Not really. We have very big news. It is the week before action, so nature is healing, as you can see. Don't pay attention to the news at all or anything to do with politics. That doesn't matter. Nature is healing. Action starts next Tuesday. We actually had football last night. It was Conference USA. A couple of stinkers. Couple of stinkers for sure. But this is so exciting, man. This is where I'm telling you guys, we're reverting back to that schedule where get all your shit done on Wednesdays. I don't need to go into detail. You guys already know the gist of it. You know the spiel. Get everything done on Wednesdays because you got Monday night football, Tuesday night action, Thursday night football, Friday night college football, Saturday college football, Sunday NFL. Rinse and repeat, baby. Yes, sir. I'm so excited. But I'm guilty of saying this multiple times, I believe, at the beginning of these episodes. And I was kind of not rehearsing, but thinking of what I was going to talk about on my drive home today. And I said out loud, jam-packed show. And I know I'm guilty of saying this, but then I realized, why do we say jam-packed? What exactly is the use of it? Whenever you're describing something as jam-packed, it should be you can describe it as either or, either jammed or packed. They both get the same message across. And so I'm not saying that jammed or packed are better. Like, I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm saying they don't need to be used together, because I feel like you're beating a dead horse at that point. Or some people might take it as like, you might be showing off. Like, oh, this dude thinks his shit doesn't stink so much that he gets to use the word jam-packed, and his show is so cool, and there's so much content being pumped out that the show's just jam-packed. I don't want to say the show's jammed with good stuff. I don't want to say the show's packed with just awesome topics. I got to go out of my way to combine the two and say jam-packed, like a little freaking Sosha. Was it Sosha from The Outsiders? The Greasers and the Soshas, I think? Yeah, like a little Sosha. Ooh, I'm so cool. Shut up. Okay? Not really. That's a genuine question, though. I don't really understand jam-packed. I feel like I don't know the term, but it's these two things are fighting the same fight right here. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand the purpose of it now. I gotta stop using it because now I'm shitting on it or just questioning the validity. Why is that so hard for me to say? Validity. I'm questioning the validity of it. And I don't understand the usefulness. How about that? But yeah, I had that thought on my way home, and I want to know what you guys think. I think I'm gonna ditch the jam-packed and maybe just say we have a packed agenda, we have a crowded agenda. I think a crowded one might be even better. Let me check my phone real quick. I got 4 minutes left. I got a Marie Callender's chicken and rice little frozen meal in the oven tonight, and I am so hungry. I am so excited for it. So we're going to take a break. I was hoping to get through the entire intro of non-sports related stuff or just random stuff. Clearly that's not going to happen because I've just gone on my rant, on my tangents here, which is fine. I'm not complaining. I hope you guys aren't either. If you are, I can't hear you, but you could say it in the comments. That's fine too. But, moving on, I think we're going to maybe put some suggestions in the comments on what you think I should say. Like crowded, packed, jammed, busy agenda. I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? But I do want to say, since my last episode, since the last episode, it might have happened that night, actually. I think I was recording on that Thursday, or it was after that recording. I stayed in here. I was watching some playoff baseball, some MLB baseball, and I believe I was watching the Yankees and Red Sox. Take another sip. That's good. When I finish that, we'll go to the Jags Cup, drink some water, and then we'll open the other Busch Light. But I was the only one home at the time when I came out here to record last week. And so it was getting dark out. It was a little bit later. Like right now it's getting dark. And it's actually really cool. It's really windy and stuff. So I'm really hoping when I go to get my chicken and rice, which I'm just going to devour. I'm going to just devour it. I really hope it's not raining so I don't get soaked because I'm going to be really upset. But, we'll do anything for the food. It's fine. I'm still going to go out. But, I came out and I came outside and it was already getting dark out. So I closed the kitchen window. I closed those blinds and then I closed the blinds on the sliding glass door, the double sliding glass door. Because, I don't want, it's dark out. I don't want them getting home and, just being pitch black dark in the house. But I did have a light on. But nevertheless, I'm getting, that's besides. I closed everything. And so when I closed up shop in the shed out here, I'm done watching baseball. I'm coming in for the night. It's around 10 o'clock, 9:45, 10 o'clock at night. And I noticed that the kitchen blinds are open. The doors, the curtains are open on the sliding glass door. And my cousin's staying in there, and they also still don't know about the show, so keep it a secret. If you guys ever see them or come in contact with them, you better not tell them or I'm going to be really mad at you because this is a really cool shtick I've got going right now. But he was standing there. I was like, what are you doing? I said, why'd you open the blinds? And he goes, I had the door open too. And it was like, it wasn't a hot night, but it was around 75, 80 degrees. So it's not, in Florida, that is not, with the humidity and stuff, it's not the weather to leave the door open. Like the house is going to get sticky. Like it's not going to feel nice. The house is going to get hot. And I said, how come? Like, it's 10 o'clock at night and it's not even cold out. He said, I had a little accident with the oven. And I said, oh God, I said, what'd you do? I said, did you try to burn the house down? He said, yeah, unfortunately. He said, I tried to burn the house down, on accident. And so apparently, I guess he was cooking some beef and rice or something. I don't know. He was making some dinner. He had class. He got home. And I guess, I don't know the exact extent of how this happened, but I guess maybe he was boiling water, or he had the water start boiling, and he went to go, but the burner was on our stovetop, and he went to go pour the rice in to the thing to the bowl, to the pan, the pot with the water, and I think it just like the bag just like whoop, and a little pivot on them, and the rice just got all over the stove. And I'm talking like it all over, like the burner. It was one of the big burners. Is just covered in little rice grains, little rice grain engravings, basically. Like it looks like a design on the stovetop, basically. That glass stovetop, it literally looks like a design of just rice grains on that one burner. So that stinks. That I don't know. We're probably gonna end up having to pay for that somehow, some way. I don't really know how that's gonna happen, or how that's gonna work. But I tried cleaning it the next day with some glass cleaner, some stovetop, glass cleaner stuff. Didn't work at all. But the stove was looking spotless after that. So I mean, that's a positive, I guess. I don't know. I take the wins where I can. But yeah. But all that to say, I'm out here enjoying. Shut up, you stupid timer. I know. I'll go get the chicken and rice out. It's not gonna burn the house down. Well, after that last story of mine. So I'm going to cut this short and we're going to have to stop here soon and do a little intermission. But all that to say is I'm sitting out here. I recorded an episode. I'm watching playoff baseball, having a great night. And my cousins are in the house, are burning the house down. And I don't even know about it. I mean, like, the house literally could have caught on fire, started burning down, and I wouldn't have had time to A, go save my cousins, I guess, but B, go get my Xbox or all my books and everything. Like, I wouldn't have had time to go get anything out of the house. They just would have showed up with all their belongings, and my room's just burning. And I'm like, dude, I had to shed y'all burn the goddamn house down. Like, let me know at least if you're gonna do it so I can be prepared. Like, come on, man. What the hell? Am I overreacting? I don't think so. At least I hope not. If I am, I don't want you to disagree with me. So, that's that. So, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to go grab that, and I'll be right back. We're back. You guys don't even know anything happened, but I've already devoured half of that chicken and rice, and Andy's feeling good. I might go back for I told myself I was only going to eat half of it, but I haven't really had, I didn't eat a ton yesterday, just, unintentionally, and then today we might have to go back for it. I'm going to try so hard not to, but when this belly calls, I always got to answer. Not really, but what I did want to say earlier is when I mentioned cooking that chicken and rice, when I was preheating the oven, I was looking for a little pan to put the thing on, the chicken, the whatever the hell it comes in. I was looking to put it on a baking sheet, basically, and I couldn't find any of them in the drawer under the oven. And I was like, what happened? Like, we had 3 of these things. Unbeknownst to me, all 3 were just chilling in the oven already. It was like a group hangout for the baking sheets for all the pans. I don't really know why that information wasn't relayed to me by my 2 roommates. I'm not really sure why. It was like a group hangout there. I didn't really know. I don't know when the oven became the newest storage drawer for our, pots and pans and dishes. I'm not a fan of it, but I guess that's what happens when you have roommates. You just gotta roll with it. It is what it is. I'm a pretty even-keeled guy. It's hard to piss me off that much unless I'm playing Rainbow Six Siege. Tom Clancy, you have created yourself a very rage-inducing game. It pisses me off. It demoralizes me. But we're moving on. I went to the Jags game this past Monday, but before I get to that, one last thing. We were talking about, I don't know how it got brought up, but we were actually, there was a guy that goes viral on Joel, my buddy from work, Joel and mine's Instagram, TikTok, whatever, our social media. He's been popping up a lot. And it is literally a dude that he carries this big Ziploc bag around and he just has at all times like 6 hot dogs, 6 shaboing boings, 6 meat rockets. I don't even care what, nickname to come up for it. And if you come up with a nickname for the hot dog, put it in the comments. I would love to read it, actually. I'm not going to lie. I would really love to see those. But he just eats them. And most of the time, it's no condiments, no nothing. But the one time I've seen him put a condiment on it, it is the spray cheese. It's the Cheese Whiz. And that's what he puts on the hot dogs. And he eats them in the most just inopportune places or situations. Like, one was him on a flight where he says, "I hate flying." And he's just crushing 6 hot dogs, probably 20,000 feet in the sky. I don't know why. I love it. Another one was
company made me work on the weekend. He's in an office and he's literally just eating. He's just crushing these 6 shaboing again. He's crushing these 6 glizzies, and I respect him, man. Like this dude's kind of my idol, and it made me think. We were talking about at work, me and all my buddies. We were talking about how many hot dogs you think you could eat just like one sitting. No. We have like a time limit, like maybe an hour or something. Like not like an act. You're not speed racing. It's not a speed eating like a Joey Chestnut thing, but just in one sitting, how many do you think you could eat? And Michael, I think a lot of them were saying like no more than like six, basically, like 5 or 6, maybe 7, 6, 7. Maybe something like that in that range. But I was like, dude, because the hot dogs, if you buy like a standard pack of them of the ballpark brand, the ballpark Franks, or even the Nathans. But if you buy them from the store in a normal size, it comes in an 8 pack. And I told them, I said, I think I could easily crush an 8 pack. And so they're like, really? Like, you actually think so? I said, yeah. Like, honest to God, I think so. Like, when I have hot dogs, I could easily eat like 4. And that's with sides. I have to restrain myself so I don't look like an absolute fat ass or fat fuck. If you want to go down that road, if you want to go a little more personal, but I could easily crush like 4. That's with sides. If you have like baked beans as a side, or like tater tots or fries, something like that. Or if you have chili cheese dogs, I could probably still crush 3 with sides as well. But I think I could easily crush an 8 pack of them, dude. And that's what I think I might do on Saturday. Probably Saturday. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up. I haven't mowed the grass in a couple weeks. I talked about that in the last episode. I'm going to cut the grass maybe in the morning. Maybe, run some errands maybe. I don't know. Cut the grass in the morning. And just try my hardest to fast. Whether that means drinking some soda or an energy drink or something. Just something carbonated to keep you full. Maybe some coffee as well. To fast until midday. Maybe later afternoon if I can't. Maybe try to wait for that 3:30, 4 o'clock slate of NCAA, of the college football games. If I could wait for that second slate of games to come on, those 3:30, 4:30 games, and then just cook them an 8 pack of hot dogs, 8 buns. I have to eat the buns. You can't just eat the glizzies, no bun. You have to have the safety blanket with them, because then it just doesn't count. It doesn't. It's not the same at all. You're not getting the full hot dog experience. And I haven't decided yet if I'm just gonna try to just go no condiments, no nothing, just dog, just wet dog and Andy. I can't say that. I can't. But still, I am. I'm contemplating if I want to maybe cook some chili on the side, maybe have some chili cheese dogs. I know that is going to weigh me down a lot more. And that would just, obviously, if I crush that 8 pack, I would just go completely crazy on the calories for the day, which is, it's this weekend. They don't really count. They count like half as much. Not really. But I gotta enjoy this too. Like, I don't think I want just 8 plain hot dogs, and maybe I don't want just ketchup or mustard or ketchup and mustard. Maybe I'll buy a little can of chili and just have some. Maybe like 2 with the chili, like 4 plain, 2 chili cheese, 2 with ketchup and mustard. I might have just planned it out right there. No sides though. Maybe if we're feeling bold, cook some tater tots. But I think I'm gonna try to go no sides. But if I record myself, maybe it's like a Shed Talk exclusive episode, like a little side quest. Maybe that's what I'd upload it as a YouTube on the YouTube. It's just a side quest episode, not an actual part of the Shed Talk. But I don't know. I think that'd be fun. I would actually enjoy that because I love hot dogs, and I think I'm curious to see how many I could eat in one sitting. No, I don't want to drag it out like after like 30 minutes and I haven't finished them, and I don't want to be like, oh, in an hour I finished 7 when like in reality I finished 4 in the first. No, I'm not gonna cheese it. I'm not gonna be. Yeah, I'm not. No, I'm gonna be honest with it. But I think I might do that this weekend. I really do think I might do it on Saturday. I'm gonna hope my roommates aren't here because that's a really tough. That's a tough look. Like that's a tough look to explain. How about that? It's a very difficult thought process to explain, especially if I would have recorded it, because they can't know, you know what I mean? But it's enough of that. I think we need to finally get into the actual agenda, which is sports. I was at the Jags game on Monday. The Jags upset the Chiefs. They came into the game as hosting, as a home underdog, a home dog, 3.5 points. And I genuinely, whenever I talked about it, people, they kept asking, we talked, what do you think? Like, do we actually have a shot? And I said, I don't know, man. Like, I genuinely think we have a shot. We've played the Chiefs really tough the last 3 times we played them. And I think every game has come down to the wire. It's come down to the last possession, basically. And so And the Chiefs, the offenses look good so far this season, up to this game. The offense still looked good on Monday, but like the offense looked great. But they still didn't look unbeatable. Like they didn't look super explosive as like the prime Chiefs. The defense is still the defense. It's still good, but I don't know. They just looked still somewhat beatable. They just don't look as unstoppable as they have in the past. And lo and behold, what a game, man! I can't state enough. What a freaking atmosphere! Like there were a lot of Chiefs fans there because the Chiefs fans travel well. But look, dude, they had this game as just an easy W on their schedule when the schedule was released, and all these fans they scheduled this vacation to fly down to Florida and be like, hey, this will be our vacation weekend. Maybe a long weekend week. However it is, it's not primetime summer here anymore, so the weather is more bearable, like the temperature. And they're like, yeah, like, me and the kids, or me and the wife, me and the hubby, are just going to take a trip down, watch the Chiefs get a win, sightsee, just be tourists for the weekend and watch them get an easy dub. Wrong. That sea of red was going home sad because the Jaguars upset them at home and finally established themselves on national television, primetime, standalone game for that day. Like, it's not Sunday Night Football where there's been football all day. It's not Thursday Night Football where people are still working or there's college football on. This is the standalone game of the night. National TV or on ESPN, the Manning cast was going. I saw Jason Kelce on the field interviewing before the game. It was sick, dude. Scott Van Pelt was there. I love that dude. And they won. I think they proved that they belong. They proved that they are a contender in the AFC this year. I think so. I don't know how you watch that game and then them beating the 49ers last weekend in San Fran on the road. Like I don't know how you don't watch these last couple games and be like, look, dude, that defense is for real. They make plays. They're very turnover, just hungry, dude. Like they're always lurking for that ball, man. For either punching it out for a fumble, picking it off. Like they're always lurking, and the offense is still sputtering. Like they're still not clicking yet offensively. And yet the team's 4-1. I don't like it's insane, man. It's such an encouraging start as a fan, for all the players, for the coach, for everybody, for the entire city of Jacksonville, ownership, everything. It's such an encouraging start. Like the offense hasn't even got going yet, and it's an offensive-minded coach, mind you. So they're gonna figure it out. Like obviously, that's not really a question. Like they're gonna figure it out, and it's just it's so fun to watch, man. It really is. Like it can only get better on offense because it's just. I will say not a ton of preset penalties, if any, maybe one or two on Monday. So that's an improvement for the Jags. No, maybe one illegal formation or illegal shift, which is insane because we've just been having a ton. And it was awesome, man. Like it was just, as a fan, it was a whirlwind of emotions. You got the full Trevor Lawrence experience. You had the highest of highs where he's just making unreal throws, just threading the needle, throwing dots. You had the very last play on offense for them when they scored the touchdown to go up for good, where he snaps the ball, the right guard steps on his foot, he falls down, tries getting up, falls down again, gets up, and just looks like a baby deer almost, just gallivanting to the end zone and just wills his way to the goal line. And it was insane. And then you also saw 2 delay of games, one on that final drive with the game on the line, and you get another delay of game. And you saw him again for the third time this season throw a ball past the line of scrimmage, like run in front of the line of scrimmage and then throw the ball. And it's just like he has these mental lapses, which is what's crazy is on Monday night it was all just mental, either pre-snap, delay of game penalties, not realizing how much time you left on the play clock, or the running in front of the line of scrimmage where it's just like how do you not you have to understand where you're at on the field. It's all mental. Which is crazy, and it wasn't like the boneheaded throw, the boneheaded mistake. The one boneheaded physical mistake he made was taking that sack. He took a sack on the last drive where he rolled out of the pocket, avoided the pressure, and instead of just throwing it away, like you did the hard part, you got away from the pressure, you avoided the sack. He tried tucking it and running, and I don't think he realized how close everyone was into closing on him. And he had the ball in his left hand. He tried switching it real quick to his right hand at the last second, but he got sacked. It was too late already, so he had to take a timeout. And it was just that was a boneheaded mistake, man. You got to throw that away. That is inexcusable. It is. But you just saw some of these plays where he just avoids the sack and he carried the ball 10 times for 50 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was crazy, man. It was awesome. It was on national, primetime national TV. You're not hiding from anyone. I promise you that. You're not. This game ain't hiding from anyone. And I do want to say
I had beef with the pricing at the stadium. I paid $18.75 for a Mick Ultra. Now, granted, it was a 25 ouncer, so you're basically paying for two. So basically, two Mick Ultras was $18. And obviously, you got to leave a tip because they're staring at you. But I paid $22 for a Mick Ultra. Bend me over. Why? Like, that hurts the soul. That literally hurt the soul right there. That's more than I pay for a case of Mick Ultra, mind you. More than I pay for a 12-pack, okay? More than you pay for a 24-pack of Busch Light, all right? That's just ridiculous, dude. But, whatever. I also got that souvenir cup that I showed earlier, the one that has Tyson Campbell, that they need to update it. So, get on that, Jags. I know you're watching. But I paid $12.50 for that. And granted, if you buy at the beginning of the game, you get bottomless refills. So, you can get your money's worth, I guess. You definitely can. Or you could get more worth out, like more value out of it. Yes, you absolutely can. I get that. So that's on me. But still, $12.50, $13 after tax for a souvenir cup? That is ridiculous, dude. Like, that hurts the soul, too. I paid $35 for 2 drinks. 2 drinks, man. That hurts. Whatever, I get it. That's how all stadiums are, basically. I know some fluctuate a little more in pricing, but I know that's how most stadiums are today. That's just the reality, especially if you're going to buy alcohol, which I did. I bought one drink. Great sip right there on the water. Keep us hydrated. We're keeping it rolling. But I do want to touch on one more thing for that game. I do want to touch on two more things for the game. One, the Jags really dropped the ball. So there was a TV timeout in between the drives, punted it away or kicked it away, whichever, I don't remember. And they're on TV timeout, so they do all these promotions, all these mini games or stuff. And how do I say this? Basically, they were giving away free Whataburger. And they said, we're going to give away free Whataburger to 3 sections. So I think it was just a meal, maybe a burger and fries or something. And as I just previously said a couple minutes ago, there are a ton of Chiefs fans. That's to be expected. That wasn't really a surprise. The Chiefs fans travel well. They do. Historically, they always travel well. And so you knew the Chiefs sideline, like that side of the stadium, was going to have a significant amount of Chiefs fans. I have beef with whoever in the Jags, like, event services, the director of fun, whoever this is, that chose these 3 sections to give away the free Whataburger. You completely dropped the ball. No questions asked. They gave away free Whataburger to when they called it out. It was like sections 434, 435, 436. 3 sections in the nosebleeds, the upper level sections. And when they're calling them out, you can look up and you just see it's all Chiefs fans. I'm not even joking. All 3 of these sections were on the Chiefs sidelines, and they were all 90% Chiefs fans. Guys, you knew what you were doing when you chose these sections. Like, you know what sections you're choosing. It wasn't like a live drawing, I'm pretty sure. You knew going into this which sections you were going to announce. How did we not do 30 seconds of research and realize, oh, you know what? Maybe that isn't the best idea. Maybe we should choose 3 sections on the Jags sideline, or 2 on the Jags sideline, 1 on the Chiefs sideline, and then you just take the risk at that point. Maybe that one is mixed. Guys, come on! What are we doing? That was so... You gave away free Whataburger to hundreds of Chiefs fans. Oh, and it was a home game. Oh my God. Pissing me off, man. Pissing me off. That was terrible, man. That was a really bad look. But I'm pretty sure that is all we have. I think it's time for us to finally dive in to college football, NFL, maybe touch on MLB a little bit more. I already kind of did with the Yankees getting eliminated. No one else. So tonight, as I'm recording this, the Dodgers are playing the Phillies right now. It's a 0-0 tie going to the bottom of the 6th. Later this evening, the Cubs and the Brewers square off in Game 4. The Cubs need to win that to stay alive. And then tomorrow, the Mariners play the Tigers back in Seattle. Game 5, winner take all. Winner goes to the ALCS. My boy Tariq Schoolblue is pitching a do-or-die game. I am going to be just unbelievably aroused watching that. It's going to be a great night, dude. I'm so excited. But that's probably about all we need to do for MLB playoffs, honestly. I know you guys don't really care that much about it, most of y'all, but we're gonna dive into NCAA and NFL now. It's a bad day to be a Busch Light.
and it's a bad day to be in the market for a quick and concise Shed Talk episode because A, that never happens, but B, hey, I'm spilling the shit all over the place. Wow, this is a disgrace to beer pouring. Whatever. Whatever, dude. Not even worried about it. But B, hey, for starters, these are never quick and concise episodes. I'm terrible at that. I don't really know, I don't know how to do that, honestly. But whatever. We're going to keep rolling. But we're on to the NCAA now. I'm going to do a quick recap of week 6 for the NCAA. And then I'm trying to think of if I want to do, I'll probably figure it out on the fly, but I'm trying to think if I want to, I think I might do the NCAA together. So like recap and then preview for this weekend. And then roll in NFL. NFL week 5. I mentioned it earlier. The slate for the NFL games in week 5 was really weak, in my opinion.
So you know what? Maybe we just do that real quick. We'll just. I do want to talk about this though. The NFL Week 6 power rankings came out. This was post the Jags Chiefs Monday night game. So all the week 5 games were done, and this is their power rankings going into week 6. I don't have a problem with some of these teams. Like Detroit's number 1, Buffalo's number 2, Eagles are 3, Bucks are 4. Okay, the common theme among those teams, and then also the Colts are 5. Colts are 5. Okay, hang on. Let's not get ahead of yourself, Andy. Okay, so Lions 1, Bills 2, Eagles 3, Bucks 4, Colts 5, 49ers 6th. 1 through 6, stay with me, 1 through 6, hear me out, are all 4-1 teams, okay? So, you guys know that. All 1 through 6 are 4-1 teams. I do want to note there are 7 4-1 teams in the NFL. Okay, there's 7 of them. All right. Number 7 is the Packers at 2-1-1. They had a bye week last week, but they came out strong. They had the really dominating win over Detroit in week 1, which I think we've realized as the season goes on is looking more and more like a fluke, as Detroit has gotten better and seems like they've caught their stride. And Green Bay, that was just a perfect game for them, really. And then they since then they've lost to the Browns and they tied the Cowboys, who were down CeeDee Lamb. So let me repeat that for you. They lost to the Browns and they tied with the Cowboys, who were down CeeDee Lamb. Now, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. 4 games into their season, I don't think you should be pegged as the 7th best team in the NFL in the power rankings. I love the Packers. I love watching the Packers growing up with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. I love watching Devontae Adams. I loved those teams, like those prime Rodgers teams in Green Bay. I loved them. So this isn't coming from an anti-Packers bias at all. This is coming from hey, we've seen the results, okay? They had a really strong week 1, but their 3rd and 4th games were abysmal. Your defense gave up 40 to the Cowboys in the tie without their top receiver. And so you know what I mean? It's you don't deserve to have that 7th ranking in the power rankings. I'm getting caught up on one team, but I'm gonna be honest with you. The NFL power rankings, after you get through 1 through 6, they honestly seem like the AP top 25. I think the AP voters might be making the NFL top 25 for ESPN. I genuinely believe that, because then you have the Rams and the Broncos both at 3-2 and 8-9. Okay, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. You know, those teams are really freaking good. They are. Jags play the Rams in 2 weeks. Those teams are really good. Then you have the Kansas City Chiefs at 10. Let me remind you, the Kansas City Chiefs are 2-3. They just lost to Jacksonville. They've lost to the Eagles, as well as, oh man, who else did the freaking Chiefs lose to? They lost in week 1 because they started off 0-2. Man, they lost to the Chargers. I forgot. They lost to the Chargers in Brazil. Okay, so the Chiefs are now 2-3. Okay, and you still have them ranked in the top 10. I get it if you're going off of like rest of season outlook, that's fine. That's not a power rankings. That is what are you doing right now? I feel like this is what you should be. What I have a problem, my biggest gripe is that the Jaguars are number 12 in NFL power rankings at 4-1. Last week they were 14th. So they just beat the Chiefs in prime time on Monday night, a comeback win from being down 14-0 in the early second quarter, okay? You were down 14-0, came back, beat the Chiefs. The Super Bowl runner-up Chiefs, the 3-time champs in the last, I don't know, six years probably. Yeah, 6 years. And you move up 2 spots to 12th. Mind you, when you look at these rankings, 6th place San Francisco 49ers and 10th place Kansas City Chiefs. San Fran's 4-1. Chiefs are 2-3, as I've stated. They've beaten both those teams. They beat they handed the Niners their only loss of the season on the road in Levi Stadium. They came into your place, beat you, and you're 6 ranks higher than them with the same exact record. Okay, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Yeah, totally. That totally makes a ton of sense. And the Chiefs are now 2-3, a losing record, and they're in the top 10. This is ridiculous, dude. ESPN, you guys got to cut this bullshit out. I know Chiefs drive a lot of money because of the whole Swift and Kelsey thing, the Mahomes hate that just still generates clicks, and Andy Reid's awesome. Like, I know, I understand that they are just clicks, and the Chiefs are the Chiefs of the past. Like, in the past, the Chiefs are always great. But what have they done this season? They beat a beat-up Ravens team that was without Lamar for over half the game. And they were going to win that game regardless. I'll concede that. I'm not going to, put my shaders on to that. They were going to beat the Ravens regardless. But they blew out a Ravens team that was without Lamar, an MVP candidate, for half the game. And they were also down a couple other Pro Bowlers, I'm pretty sure. And you've beaten God, who else did they beat? They beat I don't even care. They beat the Giants on Sunday Night Football, like 22-9 or 22-6. It was an ugly ass game, dude. So it's like their 2 wins, granted, they beat them by 2 possessions, haven't been great, man. Like, they haven't been that, much prove it, dude. They haven't. Ooh. Good sip right there in the bush. But, so, I'm not going to dwell on this too much longer. I don't understand that, man. I really don't. That was terrible. I get it. The Jags keep taking care of business. They'll move up. But, dude, you're 4-1, and you've beaten the 49ers and the Chiefs so far. And the Texans. I know the Texans are kind of scuffling, but you've beaten the Texans, the Chiefs, and the 49ers 3 weeks in a row. Back-to-back-to-back weeks against those teams. What more do you have to do to get in the top 10? I mean, that's what's crazy to me. That's just blatantly disrespectful. But whatever. Week 5 of the NFL was a terrible slate. I have much hatred for you, Mac 10 Jones. So they have Glock Purdy and Mac 10 Jones as their QB room, San Francisco does. And Brock Purdy's been hurt off and on this season. Mac Jones stepped in again and beat the Rams on Thursday Night Football. Now, if you guys remember my last Thursday episode, I took the Rams alternate money line at -10 because they were at home. The 49ers were down their top 3 receivers, their top tight end, who's a top 5 tight end in the league. Their quarterback, Brock Purdy, was out, so they were starting the backup. They just lost Nick Bosa for the season. And they come out and just bring it to the Rams. Like, that entire first quarter, I think the Rams ran 6 plays, maybe? I think it was 6 plays. And the 49ers held the ball the entire quarter. The first half was just all Niners. It was. At the end, the Rams scored a touchdown right before the half. But I'll give him credit, man. Like, Kyle Shanahan's offense, he's a wizard, dude. He's got Mac Jones stepping in and just winning games, dude. They're 4-1. They're 3-0 with Mac Jones, I'm pretty sure. So that's kind of crazy to think about. But the rest of the slate, I touched on this. I went over this last week before the games even started, obviously. And it was a very unappealing slate, man. The Vikings beat the Browns in London. Gross game. The Browns have since traded Joe Flacco to the Bengals. Crazy. I mean, we'll see how he does there. Just throw it to Jamar 20 times a game. You'll give yourself a chance, basically. The Colts obliterated the Raiders, so the Colts still look like a wagon. Not a surprise to anybody. The Colts still look like a freaking powerhouse the first 5 games. I will say, so Jacob Cooper, cover your ears. I don't mean this as a slight to the Colts or like trying to call them frauds or anything. I don't mean that at all. They have a gauntlet kind of a stretch coming up, basically. And what I mean by that is, like, you've played your kind of easier part of the schedule so far. You played the Dolphins, the Broncos. Broncos a good team. You played the Titans. You took the Rams to the brink, and then you blew up the Raiders. And you have the Cardinals this weekend, so that should theoretically be not an easy win, but it should be a win. But then you got the Chargers, Titans again, Steelers on the road, Falcons should be doable. That's in London. But then you go on the road to Arrowhead in Kansas City. You play the Texans again, or you play the Texans for the first time, you play at Jacksonville, then in Seattle, host the Niners, host the Jags, and then end the season in Houston in NRG Stadium. I'm not saying a lot of these games aren't winnable, because they are absolutely winnable for the Colts. I mean, they should win the Cardinals game, Titans game again. They should split at least with the Texans. You should beat the Falcons. You could probably beat the Seahawks. 49ers, we'll see what they look like. I mean, that's the third to last game of the season. So, we'll see how the Niners are shaping up at that point. Injury-wise, record-wise, we'll see, because a lot of teams are so different at that point in the season that it's like some teams could just be ready to call it in and just be ready to go on vacation at the end of the season and just try to get through it healthy. But this starts the gauntlet stretch of your schedule to really prove how good they are. I'm very excited to watch to see how Indy plays out the rest of the season. Like, genuinely, I really am. I don't mean this. I didn't mean that as a slight to them at all. But their tests are coming up. Like, their big tests are coming up. But they blew out the Raiders. Saints beat the Giants. Gross midget slapbox fest. Cowboys beat the Jets. Cool. I don't care. The highlight of that game was literally Jerry Jones flicking off the fans, the Jets fans, and he got fined $250K for that. You dumb idiot. Broncos handed the Eagles their first loss of the season. So anytime you say that could be exciting. Anytime you beat the Eagles is a really good win. The problem is it was kind of a boring watch up until the fourth quarter. The Eagles were up 14-3. The Broncos scored 18 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win. They won 21-17. And so a win's a win. I'm not discrediting that at all. It was just from a watching perspective, because we had this game on for a while. It just wasn't the most entertaining game. And the Broncos couldn't really do anything on offense. Eagles couldn't do a ton either. The Eagles were up 17-3. Sorry, they weren't even up 14. They were up 17-3. So, it was just the Broncos came back in the last quarter. They made a really interesting fourth quarter. It was just up until that point. It was kind of a hard watch. But Panthers came back and beat the Dolphins. The Dolphins are dead. Panthers are not dead, but the Dolphins are dead. Texans blew out the Ravens. Some people might think this is a surprise, but it's not at all. Let me take a sip. The Ravens were legitimately without like 6 Pro Bowl players from last season or previous seasons. It was insane. They were down 5 or 6 Pro Bowlers. Like, their inactive list at the before the game, it was just ridiculous to see. I mean, that was like a star-studded inactive report. It sucks for the Ravens. They're in hell, man. They're 1-4. Like, that season's over. Even if Lamar comes back this week, your season's probably over. Their defense has been abysmal. Their defense has been terrible this year. Like, I don't know what's happened. They traded away one of their D linemen, DTs, to... Oh, who did they trade it away to? No, not the Eagles. I don't remember who they traded them to. I don't even care, man. They just stink, dude. Like, it was such a quick fall from grace, I guess you could say. Like, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know how to, like, describe it, dude. I know we're kind of stalling right here, but it's like I don't think anyone saw this coming. I mean, they were 1-3 with Lamar. And granted, look, the first month of this season has been horrible. They were 1-3 with Lamar, but you've lost to the Bills to open the season on Sunday Night Football in a thriller. You lose on a game-winning field goal. You beat the Browns. Cool. You blew them out. You lost to the Lions in a shootout, 38-30. You got destroyed by the Chiefs, and now you just got absolutely pummeled by the Texans. This week you have the Rams. So, like, it doesn't get any easier. From a first 6 games perspective, that is about as tough as it could get outside of Cleveland. And the Cleveland game, you're at home, so it's even more of a layup for you, basically. But you had the Bills on the road and the Chiefs on the road. I mean, thankfully you had the Lions and the Texans at home. You had the Rams at home, but you're down Lamar still. And so it's I don't know, man. It's crazy to see that the Ravens struggle this much this early in the season, just because of what they've been, for so long lately, especially with Lamar. It's insane to me. I get the injury bug has plagued them really bad this season, but still. Texans blow out the Ravens. The Titans come back last second to beat the Cardinals, and the Cardinals just tried everything they could to blow this game, and they did. I mean, Amari DiMercado had a 70-yard touchdown run nullified because he dropped the ball in front of the goal line, or before crossing the goal line. That's just inexcusable, man. Jonathan Gannon, the Cardinals head coach, gets fined $100,000 by his own team. The Cardinals fined their head coach $100,000 for basically shoving away DeMarcado or just hitting him as he was walking away after yelling at him for dropping the ball. Cardinals are in hell. I mean, that's just, I don't know, man. It's just forgettable, man. Just God, get it out of my head. You know? Buccaneers beat the Seahawks. That was the second best game of the week. Absolutely. I mean, the Jags and Chiefs were 1. Buccaneers, Seahawks were 2. Buccaneers won last second against the Seahawks 38-35. It was a fantastic game. It was literally just back and forth. I mean, it was 13-7 at halftime. Like the Seahawks offense was sputtering the entire first half. They scored they scored in the second quarter. I don't remember if it was early or late. But then the second half, it was like no one ever punted. I don't think anyone punted in the second half. I mean, it was the Bucs scored 25 points in the second half. The Seahawks scored 28. And the Seahawks had the ball with, I think, a little under 3 minutes left after the Bucs scored to tie it. The Bucs, yeah. Right? Yeah. The Bucs scored to tie it 35 up. Seahawks caught the ball back, and then Sam Darnold unfortunately threw a pick. Bucs kill time, just kick a walk-off field goal to win the game. It was a crazy game. The second half full of offense. It was just fireworks everywhere, dude. It was like one team scores, and it was just, you kind of thought like, oh, this is where they settle in, make a stop, and then they're gonna score again and go up 2 scores. And it just didn't happen, man. It was just deep ball after deep. It was crazy, man. It was a great game. It really was. Lions blew out the Bengals. This was a terrible game because Joe Burrow's out. Jake Browning just continued to struggle as Cincinnati starter. That's why they've gone out and traded for Joe Flacco, just to try to shake things up and see if he can give them a better chance at winning and you know, keeping their wild card hopes alive, basically. Yeah, this final score is 37-24. It was never that close, man. It was 28-3 going into the fourth quarter. The Bengals scored a bunch of garbage time points against, you know, prevent defense, backups playing. It was ridiculous, man. It was, yeah. Commanders blew out the Chargers. That, very surprising. The Chargers went up 10-0 in the first quarter. You thought, okay, they're back. Like they rebounded from last week's loss to the Giants. They're getting right back on track. Nope. Commanders scored the last 27 points of the game. They were down 10-0 and won 27-10. That's just insane. Herbert's struggling. The O-line is struggling majorly. Jane Daniels had a good game finally again for the Commanders. He missed a game. So that was really encouraging. Terry McLaurin still might be out, so that's something to watch for. But whatever, you know, they blew out the Chargers. That's all that matters, man. You went 1-0 last week. The Patriots beat the Bills, Sunday Night Thriller in Buffalo. You hand Buffalo their first loss of the season on the road, in their place, under the lights. Like, that's awesome, dude. You know? Heck of a win for Drake May. That's Mike Vrabel's first signature win as a Patriots head coach. Obviously, he had a ton of signature wins in Tennessee with the Titans, but as the Patriots head coach, that's his first signature win. You know, a hell of a game. I didn't watch it that much. I didn't really think I watched it at all, to be honest with you. So I can't comment on just how back and forth it felt, or maybe this was just, you know, kind of a boring game, but it was close. I have no idea. But, you know, congrats to the Patriots. Big win for them, you know. Huge win to hand the Bills' first loss, divisional win as well. And then the last game of the week, Jaguars beat the Chiefs. I've already gone into detail about that. I've got beef with the refs that they just let the Chiefs. That's just what I wanted to say. They let the Chiefs get away with a lot in terms of like pass interference. I mean, there were 3 or 4 major missed pass interference calls on the Chiefs last week against the Jags. And this isn't even coming from a Jags bias. I mean, obviously I'm only touching on it because I watched the game and I'm a Jags fan, but it was like, these were like blatant PIs, dude. Like the first drive of the game for the Chiefs, they had a pick set in the end zone and people were like, it was only 1 yard from the line of scrimmage, so you're allowed to do it. It was 2 yards. Dude, like the dude was in the end zone and shoves him. Like, you can't do that, dude. You know? It's like, and then on the one Trevor Lawrence interception, you watch the replay, the Chiefs DB literally shoves Parker Washington, the Jaguars receiver, shoves him to the ground, and the other guy catches the ball for the pick. And the refs stand there. They don't even throw a flag. They're just like, yep, turnover, Chiefs ball. What? What the hell? Did you not just see the Jags player literally just get trucked before he even threw the ball, basically? Like that, oh my, like it was just, that's ridiculous, dude. This is what I wanted to say. Basically, let me turn this camera up. The Chiefs are like that one Key and Peele sketch where, let me see if I can see more. They're like that one Key and Peele sketch where
he's trying to do. It's a football sketch, and they're doing the celebrations. They're trying to see how far they can go with the celebrations before getting penalized. And it's the one. He's as the football player. He's got his hands behind his head, and he's doing the air humps. He's like 1, 2, and then the refs watch him out of the corner of his eye, like eyeing him down. And as soon as he does the third one, he throws the flag. That's like the Chiefs, dude. They commit all these PIs, and they're like, oop, this one wasn't that obvious, so we're not gonna call it. This one was a little more obvious, and then they get to the point where the refs are like, dude, you made that so blatant, we have to throw the flag, or else the fan base is just gonna bite our heads off. You know what I mean? Like, that's the Chiefs. That's how the Chiefs get refs help. It feels like in 2025, or just over the last couple of years. That's how it's felt, man. It's crazy. But the Jags prevailed. They won. Week 6 slate, I haven't even really taken a gander at yet. The Eagles and Giants are underway right now. The Giants are actually up 7-3, so that's pretty cool. I think, I did place a parlay. I haven't done a sicko parlay of the week. I don't know if I'm going to. I will. Actually, I know I'm going to. I don't think I'm going to touch on it on this episode, because I haven't really thought about it. I think as I go through these games, I'll, kind of make note of like, ooh, I like that one, something like that. But overall, no. Oh, yeah, overall, probably not. But I'm going to do it so far. But I made a parlay for tonight's game. It was basically a Giants player going over on his tackles. Yeah, just random stuff. It was $1 to win $8. Maybe like a little money back. But whatever. I got the Eagles winning that game. I know they're down 7-3. I think they win that game. Saquon revenge game against the Giants. I know they play them twice a year, but I don't care. It's always a revenge game. In London, we got another London game this week to kick us off. On Sunday morning, the Broncos are facing the Jets. Jets are winless. They're 0-5. I think they stay winless. I think they go 0-6. Broncos win that game to move to 4-2. Cardinals travel to Lucas Oil Stadium to play the Colts. I got the Colts winning that game, moving to 5-1. As much as it sucks for the Jags, I think the Colts win this game. Maybe not easily, but somewhat easily. Chargers face the Dolphins. I got the Chargers. I don't really want to touch on that. Patriots play the Saints. Same thing. I got the Patriots. Browns and Steelers. Browns are starting Dillon Gabriel again, so maybe he provides them a little juice, He won in London last week against... No, they lost in London against the Vikings, but it was close. Hey, that's something to look forward to, I guess. It was close, but I got the Steelers winning that to come off a bye week. You have 2 weeks to prepare for this. I think you got to have a game plan to win this game against the Browns. Come on. You just do. Cowboys and Panthers. That's a really interesting game. I don't think CeeDee Lamb is back, or he's questionable. We're not sure yet, but I'm sorry, Joel. I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys on this one. I actually think it's going to be a really close game, but I think the Cowboys find a way to win this one. I do actually think this game comes down to the wire. I think the Panthers just find a way to stay in it and just keep, scratching and clawing and just, making it a game. I really do. Seahawks and Jags, that's my game of the week, obviously. This is actually a really good matchup. Seahawks are 3-2. Their offense is clicking. The defense has been good outside of the Tampa game last weekend. So I think that might be a little blip in the radar, but I'm hoping the defense has another lackadaisical day. Traveling across country out here to Jacksonville, and it's a 1 o'clock game. Hopefully it's a little hot, so maybe that'll help. The Seahawks are actually 1.5-point favorites. That stinks for the Jags. Screw you, Vegas. I'm going with the Jags this game. I do believe they can win this game, and I think, not that they should, but it's going to be tough. You had a short week. You're really banged up. A lot of guys on the injury report for the Jags so far this week. We're not sure if Trayvon Walker's going to play still, but regardless, the Jags, with how they've started, they should be able to win this game. And I'm not saying it should be a blowout or anything at all. Like, the Seahawks are really good. I think it's going to be a really tough game. I just think the offense really needs to show up and come out clicking on Sunday. Rams, Ravens, I already went on my Ravens spiel. Give me the Rams. Titans, Raiders. Finger in the mouth. Just pull the trigger, man. Like, make it puke already. That's just... I don't... that game might have all-time low in viewership. Give me, however... Gino's already got 8 picks on this... He's got 9 picks on the season through 5 games. It's not a great scene there. I don't even know who wins this game. Like, what a terrible first 4 o'clock game. What a terrible game to kick off the 4 o'clock slate. Give me the Titans. And I think the Titans find a way to win this game. I think Gino throws another couple picks and gives the Titans some good field position and take advantage of it. And that's the difference.
Bengals at Packers. Give me the Packers. Joe Flacco's starting game, his first game, short week. He's starting for the Bengals, I'm pretty sure. Give me the Packers coming off a bye week. I think they're ready. I think they're rejuvenated. They're 14.5-point favorites, which is crazy for an NFL game, but give me them. Second, I'd say second best game of the week is another 4 o'clock slate. 49ers travel to face the Bucks, so two different West Coast teams coming out to face Florida teams. That's pretty cool. Seahawks facing the Jags, 49ers facing the Bucks. Give me the Bucks, man. Give me the Bucks. I'm not even sure who's playing for the 49ers yet, Brock Purdy or Mac 10. I don't really know. But I think the Bucks find a way to win this game. I do. It's going to be a dogfight, dude. Like, this is going to be a dogfight. But give me the Bucks for this game. Game of the week is the Lions and the Chiefs. Sunday Night Football. It's in Kansas City, in Arrowhead. That's going to be a fantastic game. This is going to be... I'm going to make sure I have this game on it. At least... Even if I don't watch the whole thing, I'm going to make sure I have this game on. This is going to be a really fun game. The Lions have a chance to send the Chiefs to 2-4, which is insane. Coming from if that happens to a Patrick Mahomes-led team that's not riddled by injuries or anything, that's, fairly healthy, honestly. That would be insane if this happens. So I'm going to be really rooting for the Lions in this game. That's why I'm going to pick them to win. I'm going to pick them to upset on the road. So just purely out of spite, just purely because I want Kansas City to lose and drop to 2-4. So give me the Lions. Monday Night Football. We've got double dipper again, double header in Monday night. Bills travel to face the Falcons. Give me the Bills. It just doesn't have that much appeal. The Falcons are just, I don't know, the offense is struggling. Michael Penix Jr. is just not great. I saw a stat. I don't know how true it is still, but I read a stat a couple weeks ago that the Falcons have not won a game yet with Michael Penix Jr. as the starter where the opposing team scored more than 7 points. Or where the opposing team scored 7 or more points. That's just abysmal. That's abysmal, man. So if that's the case, still give me the Bills. Yes, give me the Bills because I think they're going to score more than 7 points against the Falcons. And then to end the Monday or the Week 6 slate for the NFL, the Bears travel to face the Commanders. That is actually a really interesting matchup. Even if Terry doesn't play, I think that hurts him a lot if Terry doesn't play. But that's a good matchup, man. Like I'm really curious to see how this one goes. I don't know how it's going to go. The Bears have shown some ups and downs so far with Ben Johnson, his system and stuff. The Commanders have shown very low downs, a little bit of ups so far without, they were without Jane Daniels for a game or two. Just, they haven't seemed to be clicking yet offensively this season. And that was my fear, was that there was a little bit of a sophomore slump coming for Jane Daniels. And not so much a knock on him, just as a team in general. I think they went on a magical run last season towards the end of the year and then in the playoffs. But I think it got overlooked that the Commanders roster isn't as... It doesn't have as much top-end talent that would suggest suggest it has, being that they were in the Final Four last year. They were in the NFC Championship. So I think it was a little misleading and people were very high on them just because they got so hot last season towards the end. But I still think they're a good team. I still think Jane Daniels is really good. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to pick... If Terry doesn't play, give me the Bears. If Terry does play, give me the Commanders. How about that? So that does it for our NFL slate. We're going to come back for the college slate and hopefully keep this thing under 2 hours. We are at 1 hour and 8 minutes so far, which is not good. We're at 1 hour and 9 minutes basically, and we still got to do the college slate. But we're gonna roll right through it, man. This is what we do. You guys love this stuff. I love it more than y'all, so I hope y'all love it. Home stretch, baby. Home stretch. Let's go. I know you guys are tired of listening to me probably, but we're at the most exciting part of it. Actually, some of you guys might think the most exciting part of this is the Andy thoughts and the Andy rambles about, such various topics. I think so. I don't know. But I am the most excited for this, the college football talk, because that's just what's most near and dear to my heart. We're going to we're going to recap what happened last weekend and then preview this weekend. I put a couple headliner games in there. Obviously, I mentioned earlier the two of the bigger games, which were Penn State losing on the road to UCLA and Texas losing on the road at Florida. Both of those games actually handed those teams their second losses, respectively. So, I don't know. Thought that was cool. But both top 10 teams losing on the road to unranked teams. It's not a good look whatsoever. But... regardless, we're going to move on. The other headline games of the week, let me get the more boring ones out of the way. not so much more boring, but more boring for y'all, the audience. Texas Tech went on the road to play Houston. This one was actually really intriguing. Texas Tech was I believe, either a 10 or 11 point favorite. So you're probably thinking, like, what's the significance of this? Well, they were both undefeated. It was a conference game, and both teams had a lot of hype, coming into the game. Both teams are obviously undefeated. They have everything to play for, obviously, in the Big 12 still. And Texas Tech kind of rolled. This game ended up being boring. I mean, they won 35-11. It was 25-11 at half, so it was still, it was a 2-touchdown game, exactly. A 2-touchdown game, 14 points. And then in the second half, Texas Tech shut them out. So, huge props to the Tech defense, the Red Raiders defense. Houston offense hasn't been, like, prolific this season so far. But they were 4-0. They took care of business. They put up 27, 35, 36, 27. Now, granted, the biggest name team out of that was Colorado. They played Oregon State as well. Oregon State is either, like, winless this season or 1-5 with, like, a win over an FBS squad. Regardless, their 4-0 record was misleading in hindsight, and I don't mean that as a slight to them. It was more of just like, their 4-0 was not the same 4-0 as Texas Tech. Texas Tech had just played Utah in their previous game. They had a bye week I think both teams had a bye week to prepare for this game. But still, it was kind of more of a Texas Tech flexing their talent. Like, hey, we're both 4-0, but we have a better resume. We have a better roster. We're going to show it. They went on the road and they beat them. And now look, the game was still in Texas, whatever. But still, that's just how I feel. Texas Tech, I really like them. I was very skeptical because their entire team is just booster, NIL, booster money, like, everybody transfer here, we're going to make a run for it, And I don't fault them at all for that. I love that. I absolutely would love if Florida did that or other schools were able to. I don't love if every school did that because that means the smaller schools would just be left out. They can't get no bidding war with all these bigger schools. It's just not possible. They don't have the kind of booster, the booster backings that some of these big schools have. It's unfortunate, but that's just the reality as well. Let me take a sip. I had to finish off that one, but while we open up this last Busch Light, my next one that I wanted to go over was Iowa State and Cincinnati. This was actually a hell of a game. I know it's not a headliner matchup, but this was a hell of a game. Since I picked Iowa State to win this game in the Sicko Parlay, as well as my college football pick'em league that I have with my buddies, that I mention all the time. Every time I mention it, it's like I treat it as like it's the first time y'all have heard about it, but you guys hear about it constantly. But I picked that. This was also one of my talking points. I picked New Mexico and Iowa State each like 3 different times this season, whether it be for my parlays or the college football pick'ems. I've picked them each like 3 times up to this point, and they have both finally burned their bridges, unfortunately. Unfortunately, New Mexico State lost on like Thursday or Friday. I think they lost on Thursday or Friday night. I think it was Friday night to San Jose State for their first loss of the season. Iowa State lost to Cincinnati for their first loss of the season. Don't get me wrong, though. Both games were really close. Iowa State got popped in the mouth. I'm not even joking. Cincinnati went up like 21-0 or 21-7 on them, 24-7, something like that early in the first half. It was 31-7. And then it was 31-7. Iowa State scored a touchdown and a 2-point conversion right before halftime, 31-15. They come out in the second half, score another touchdown. So it's 31-22. I mean, you went from 31-7 to 31-22 in that middle 8 section of the game. The middle 8 is basically the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. So in that time frame, you went from 31-7 to 31-22. And they made it a game. I mean, they had every chance in the world to continue to get back in the game. They stalled out Cincinnati's offense. They did whatever they could to just keep their offense in the game. And Cincinnati started shooting themselves in the foot a lot. Because I watched the second half of this game. They had a ton of self-inflicted penalties, and it wasn't even like, like iffy penalties at all. It wasn't like iffy calls. Like Cincinnati just got really sloppy in the second half. They did. And the crowd was letting them hear it. I mean, it was in Cincinnati. They were letting the refs hear it. But it was they were rightful penalties. They were correct. But Iowa State just couldn't take advantage, man. They scored those 2 straight touchdowns, and then they had a chance. I think they had 2 different chances to make it a 1-score game, and they just couldn't. It was just a story of it. They had a chance in the second half. Their defense settled in, kept them close enough in the game, and the defense gave up 7 points in the second half. The game was 31-7. It ended 38-30. So The defense stood tall and gave him a chance. It was just the offense had like 3 or 4 different turnover on downs to basically, decide the game. I mean, that decided the game in the second half. It was a hell of a game though. I loved it. But moving on, the other electric matchups of the week were Vandy and Bama. Vanderbilt beat Bama last year. They upset them in Nashville. It was a hell of a game. It was awesome. It really kind of stamped Vandy as like, hey, Clark Lee has started this program complete 180. They had been the punching bag in the SEC, the bottom feeder for a while, for a long time. And Clark Lee just basically came in and has built that roster up to be, I wouldn't necessarily, they're not there yet to say a contender in the SEC as far as they actually have a chance of going to the SEC championship. Now, obviously, they technically they do. Obviously everyone does, but I just don't see them as they don't have that top end talent yet that they can compete with the big dogs week in and week out of SEC. They can absolutely win some games. I would take them against Florida, honestly. But Bama, Bama beat it was a back and forth game. Bama got popped in the mouth early. I believe they went down 10-0 maybe, or 10-7 or something like that. It was 7-0 in the first quarter. I want to say might have been 14-0 actually, something like that. 14-0, 14-7. Regardless, Bama, took over. They pitched a shutout in the second half. It was 14 up at the half. And it pitched a shutout, man. The defense took over in the second half, shut down Diego Pavia in the offense, in the Vanderbilt offense. And Ty Simpson, man, he just continues to impress, dude. 23 of 31, 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dude, 11 yards per attempt against Vanderbilt. Like, hey, man, like, Alabama's starting to look scary. Ryan Williams, 98 yards receiving, a touchdown, like almost a 100-yard game. Like, I don't know, man. Bama got the run game going. They're kind of looking like a wagon right now. Last bush light of the night. We got it poured up. I think Tennessee has Arkansas this week. I believe Bama might have a bye week. Do they? I'm trying to see. Yeah, so Bama, no, they play Missouri. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. This was literally my headline for next week. Bama goes on the road to face Missouri this week, so that's another huge test. Like you thought, it goes Vandy, Missouri, Tennessee. And for you guys that are just listening, I just stacked it up. Vandy's third, Missouri second, Tennessee first out of those 3 teams. That's going to be a hell of a game. I mean, honestly, Bama's on the road in Missouri. Can they keep up this looking like a competent? Competent sounds bad. I mean it in terms of discipline. How about that? Disciplined football team, starting the pre-snap operations, not just making the boneheaded mistakes and playing sound football on both offense and defense. If they can continue to do that, I mean, they can easily finish 10-2, 11-1. What I wanted to say was Bama plays Missouri this weekend, Tennessee plays Arkansas, and then next weekend you got Tennessee-Bama. And that is going to be, oh man, that's going to be such a fun watch. My birthday is next weekend. It's not this weekend coming up, it's next weekend. It's going to be some fun football, man. Florida plays Mississippi State at home. That should honestly be a hell of a game. Bama plays Tennessee. I'm excited, dude. Like, that's going to be such a fun day. My cousins are going to a wedding, so I'm going to have the house to myself, dude. I'm not even going to bring a girl over. Obviously, that's not even my choice. That's just, I can't get one. I can't get a girl, okay? Okay, you guys know. But I'm going to have so much fun watching football next weekend. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I really am. Bama beat Vandy, got back on track. Miami beat Florida State. I watched this game with a couple of my buddies, Alec and Cooper, and I can't lie, it was a bad game. Miami dominated this game. As much as you think Miami dominated Florida offensively, Miami dominated Florida State even more. The final score was 28-22, I believe, or something like that. What was it? Can I find it real quick, Andy? Maybe I can find it. Maybe. Yeah, the final score was 28-22. That is super, super misleading. It was 28-3 going into the fourth quarter. I mean, Miami was up by 25 going into the fourth quarter. And Florida State scored a lot of, kind of garbage time points. And then, hey, man, you had a chance at the end, somewhat. You did. You gave yourself somewhat of a chance at the end. That's all you can ask for, I guess. But overall, Miami just looks great, man. FSU just didn't look great offensively, dude. Castellanos struggled. The offense just sputtered. The defense couldn't get off the field when they needed to. They couldn't get a stop when they needed to. And Miami just looks like a wagon. They look like a complete team. They do. Both sides of the ball. Both defensive line and offensive line are nasty. they're a national title contender. As much as I hate to say it, they are absolutely a national title contender. And FSU, look, you're 3-2 coming into the season. Any FSU fan that said, if you would have told him, hey, you guys went 2-10 last year, what if I tell you guys are either going to go 8-4 or 9-3? Like, what if before the season starts, I say, hey, you don't know it, but you guys can end the season 8-4, 9-3. Are you going to take it? And 99% of them are going to say absolutely. That 1% is just going to be like, nope, we need to compete for national titles every year. Hey, I hear you. I do. I understand. But that's just, I think it's a little egregious to think of that quick, that significant of a turnaround over year. You know what I mean? But I hear you. I do. But so look, I mean, that's the thing is Florida State started hot. Everyone got misled by that Bama win in week 1. And I think it was a combination of Florida State had a really good day. I will not take anything away from them. Bama had a really bad day, and Bama had a lot of soul searching to do. And honestly, Florida State made it that way. You know, Florida State made Bama do a lot of soul searching after that game, and they did. And they both have just gone kind of opposite directions since then. Florida State rolled 2 bad teams, and then they've lost to Virginia and Miami. You know, they're 0-2 now in ACC play. And that's almost a death sentence to your conference championship, you know, hopeful, you know, not predictions, but conference championship hopes, conference championship appearance hopes, I guess you could say, something like that. But it is, I don't know, man. I still think the Bama game really misled Florida State fans into thinking that this is a team that has the potential to go 11-1. And I still think they could finish 9-3, 10-2. I mean, they do. Clemson is on their schedule still, but Clemson has been very disappointing, so that game's going to be really intriguing. But I think Florida State is still on track to absolutely be an 8-4 or 9-3 team, and most Florida State fans would sign up for that. You know, go to maybe a New Year's Six bowl or a borderline New Year's Six-ish bowl. Actually, I think they do away with those. I think all the playoff games are New Year's Six bowls now. Basically, I don't know, a step down from the New Year's Six bowls, basically. And it's still a successful season, man. You go from 2-10 to 8-4. I mean, you know, like, it is what it is. Like, I think you just realize that this team has a ceiling. It does. With Castellanos leading the offense as a passer, he has a ceiling. And just overall, the team itself has a ceiling. It doesn't have a ton of top-end elite talent. That's just the reality. I'm going off on a tangent here on Florida State right now. I don't know why, but it is what it is. I mean, it's deserved. It's rightfully so. But it's what it is. My last headline from last week's games of the college slate is not really. Clemson destroys UNC. They destroyed them. I think the Chapel Bill experiment, whatever you want to call it, the Chapel Bill test, it just needs to conclude. Whether that be you just let them coach out the rest of the season and then say, hey, we're gonna buy you out. Like, let's just agree. Let's just let bygones be bygones. This was a bust of a experiment. This just wasn't. It just didn't happen, man. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't pan out the way either of us thought it would. I think it just needs to end, man. He is. They're 0-3, I think, against Power 5 teams. Their offense just is inept against Power 4 opponents. Their 2 wins have come against Charlotte and like some other no-name team. No disrespect to them, but it's just, I'm getting a stuffy nose because this damn fan is on. I think it's stuffing me up. Like, pause. This fan is just making my nose really stuffy because it's blowing right in me. And this is such a long episode that it's just been nonstop. But I think the Chapel Bill experiment and test just needs to end after this season. You know, I'd say let him coach the rest of the season because, like, at this point, what are you going to lose? You know, but it was just a complete whiff. It was. But moving on, let's do our headline matchups of the week. Week 7, it's a banger of a week. I think I might just do top 25 matchups. We're going to start it tomorrow night. South Florida, USF plays North Texas. You guys might be thinking, who the hell cares about that? I do. USF is 4-1. They faced a gauntlet of a stretch or schedule out of conference schedule. They faced a gauntlet and they beat Florida. They beat Boise State. They lost to Miami, and so they were 2-1. USF is 4-1 now, and North Texas 5-0. Now, North Texas won my sicko parlay last week for the over. I had them hitting the over against against South Alabama. Hey, they did their part. South Alabama did. So that's not on me. That's on South Alabama. But that's also not on North Texas. Their offense is going to score. This is the this is the G5 game of the week. USF plays North Texas. I'm really pumped for this game. This is tomorrow night, so clear your schedules. You know, I don't care if you plan on going out to dinner or going out to the bars. Even if you go out to the bars, make sure the bartender turns this game on, okay? So, because this is a great matchup, man. This is a great game. This is a great conference game. I think I'm going to go... I might lean USF just because testing-wise, they're just tested more, you know, against quality opponents. Who knows? We'll see. I could be completely proven wrong, you know, but I say USF as of now. Next one, Ohio State plays Illinois. Ohio State travels to Illinois. I should let me say that actually. Ohio State travels to Illinois. Now Ohio State's 5-0. They didn't have a bye. Did they have a bye week? No, they might have had a bye week last week. But Ohio State's 5-0. Illinois 5-1. And 2 weeks ago, after that Indiana game, I would have counted this as an Ohio State 31-6 win. Honestly, like I thought it was gonna be a blowout. But Illinois has completely proven me wrong. They have come alive the last 2 weeks after that Indiana game. They blew out they beat USC. Was that last weekend? Was that literally last weekend, Andy? I'm drawing a blank right now. I don't know. Regardless, Illinois has come out guns a-blazing since that Indiana just splattering, you know, since Indiana just mopped the floor with them. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. They beat USC at home. They upset them, and then they just put up 43 on Purdue the next week. And so I don't know, man. Like this could be... It could be interesting. I had that in my notes as just saying Ohio State and Illinois suddenly becomes interesting. 2 weeks ago, this did not have any appeal to the game. Now, I think it does. I think it would be the game of the week for Big Ten if it wasn't for my next game on my notes. Indiana travels to Oregon. And this is the game of the week. This is not even just Big Ten game of the week. This is the game of the week. Indiana and Oregon are both 5-0. They're undefeated in Big Ten play. They're both 2-0. Oregon beat Penn State, and I think they had a bye week. Oregon beat Penn State, and Indiana beat Iowa. Both games on the road, and they both have had a bye week now. So they both had 2 weeks to rest, 2 weeks to game plan. And dude, you can't ask for anything more, dude. Like, honestly, actually, I could ask for one thing more, and that would be for this game to be under the lights, because it's a 3:30 kick, and it's in Oregon, so it's really a 12:30 kick. So I'm not a fan of that at all. That's a huge miss. This should easily, at worst, this should have been a 6:30, 7 o'clock kick Eastern Standard Time, which would be a 3:34 local kick there in Oregon, in Eugene. It is what it is. That's my only gripe, is that it's a 12:30 kick there for their local time. But this is gonna be a great game, man. This is a fantastic test for both teams. I know Oregon's been tested more, quote unquote. You know, I know they've been tested more with Penn State and Indiana. Their biggest test has been Iowa, kind of, and Illinois. Indiana's biggest test has been Iowa and Illinois. Oregon's has been Penn State. This is their true, like, hey, this is like, winner of this game is going to the Big Ten Championship. You know, like that's just what is at stake here. I think the winner of this game goes to the Big Ten Championship. Now, I'm not saying the loser of this game isn't going to the Big Ten Championship. I'm just saying the winner is going to the Big Ten Championship. I mean that facetiously. Like, I mean that in all, you know, joking manner. I think the loser of this game still absolutely has a chance to make it. So, like, I'd say if Indiana loses this game, they still play Ohio State, I think, later. No, actually, they don't. But I still think Indiana still has a chance. Or the loser of this game, if Indiana beats Oregon, whoever loses this game still has a chance to make the Big Ten Championship with one loss. It's just the reality of it. But my gut is going to go with Indiana. I know probably the entire country is going to bet on Oregon, but I can't fade Kurt Cignetti, dude. I really can't. And I think that could be my demise at some point down the line. I just can't fade Coach Cignetti, dude. I love him. I love Frank Mendoza, the quarterback. I love Indiana, dude. Give me Indiana in this game. I don't care. Really, seriously. Next one, Red River Shootout. They've changed the rivalry name? No. It's the All-State Red River Rivalry now, according to ESPN, or according to the Outsiders. I don't care. The propaganda will not. I don't care. Politics have gotten into it. I don't care. It's the Red River Shootout, dude. It really is. But good swig right there. Very good swig. But I don't know how this game is going to go. Texas is off a huge loss this is desperate times now for the Longhorns, and Steve Sarkisian, he needs to come with the great game plan like he really does. He needs to dial something up here. Help out Arch, help out that struggling O-line, because OU has a very good defense. They have a really good defense. The only problem is OU, we still don't know if John Mateer's playing. OU's starting quarterback, a Heisman favorite before he got hurt 2 weeks ago. We don't know if he's playing. He's still questionable. There hasn't been any leaks, in terms of the social media world or the insiders. Like, there's been no leaks. I'll give Brent Venables credit and his staff. They're keeping it very close to the chest, as you would, as you should. You don't want to give anyone anything. You don't want to give your opponent any advantage. But that changes how I look at this game. This is how it goes. If John Mateer doesn't play, I think Texas finds a way to win the game. If John Mateer does play, I think Oklahoma finds a way to win this game. That's the easiest way. That's sissy reporting and comment. I don't know. Sissy. That's a sissy way out, I guess. Coward's way out to say it, but it's easy. That's just exactly how it is. If John Mateer plays, Oklahoma wins this game. If John Mateer is out, Texas wins this game. It's that simple. Moving on, before I get worked up about that, you jerks. NC State travels to Notre Dame. I know this isn't in terms of appeal, big name matchups, because Notre Dame is still ranked at 3-2. NC State is unranked at 4-2. I like this game a lot. I do. I really do. Notre Dame, after starting 0-2, you have to play these next 10 games, essentially, and not essentially, you do. You have to play these next 10 games, your back is against the wall. You have zero room for error, okay? You do. You have zero room for error. You can't have another slip up. You can't have an off week. You can't. Your defense can't have another off week and give up 40 and you lose 40-35, because at that point you are out of the playoffs. I think if Notre Dame wins out and finishes the season at 10-2, they're in the playoffs. That's just the way it is. That's reality. I think if with the 12-team format and with just as much as it should be, as big of a name Notre Dame is, and going off of past, they went to the national championship last year. I think if Notre Dame wins out, they're in the playoffs. But that's the thing, is if they lose again, they're out. They are out of playoffs. I don't think Notre Dame makes the playoffs as a 3-loss team. I just don't. It is what it is. I think that's just reality for them. And so they've done it to themselves. You've lost the first 2 games, granted against really good opponents. But hey man, back's against the wall, dude. You got to do everything you can. Scratch and claw. Break the glass and just start, I can't get violent on here, but just you got to do everything you can to beat everyone on your schedule left to make the playoffs. Especially because you don't have another conference championship to help your resume. You don't because you're an independent, but is what it is. Next one, I just want to say, this isn't really a headline matchup of the week. It was just more of a, can Florida pull off a second straight upset against a top 10 team from Texas, by the way? How about that? I just added that in. Can Florida pull off a second straight upset of a top 10 team from Texas 2 weeks in a row? My answer is no. I just don't think they beat the Aggies. I think the Aggies are too well-rounded offensively for them to sputter enough to keep Florida in the game and give Florida's offense a chance to win the game. I don't think. And I think Aggies defensively will contain Florida's run game enough to put more pressure on DJ Lagway in the passing game. And I just don't think they will be up to the task 2 weeks in a row to ring that bell, basically. I think Florida can easily go in and lose this game 26-20, keep it close, and just at the end you can't make that play. I also think they could go in and lose this game 31-13, and it wouldn't surprise me because the offense has a couple turnovers, DJ makes a couple just boneheaded mistakes, and the defense just, not that they have an off day. I mean, you have 31 on the scoreboard, but the defense gets put into some really bad field position battles. If Florida loses the field position game this game, I think this game could get out of hand quickly because Texas A&M is known for its explosive plays. And that's just my thought, is that if that's the case, oh no, did Alec Boehm just homer? Nope, he did not. Wow, what a catch by Pajas running out the raw. This Phillies-Dodgers game is 1-1 in the 11th inning. I'm over here talking football, and this game is just insane. It's 1-1 in the 11th inning. Backs against the wall, Philly. What are you going to do? Punch back, man. Punch back. Come on, Punch. Force a game 5. Come on, bring that shit back to Citizens Bank Park. Let's go. But, moving on. That was my last real big headliner for the week. Kansas plays Texas Tech. I know the national media is down on Kansas because they don't have an offense. They're 4-2. Texas Tech is undefeated.
or they don't have a defense. Sorry, Kansas's offense could put up 35, but the defense will find a way to go up 36. That's just how it feels so far this season, especially against quality opponents. But I still really like Jalen Daniels. I love Kansas. We'll see. I think that game is interesting to say the least. I do, because Kansas can score on just about anybody. They could put up 24 plus points a game on anyone. It's just a matter of, can the defense contain them? You know, can the defense keep their opponent in line and in check enough to keep the offense of the game lane? We'll see. You know, it'll be interesting, but I don't know. I think Texas Tech wins the game, but I think Kansas can cover. The spread on that is minus 14.5. That's why I'm very intrigued. I might take Kansas to cover that game as my parlay. Next one, not under the lights, but for us, nighttime, it's Michigan travels to USC. That is a really good game. I'm very excited to see how that game goes. Oh, no. Oh, wild pitch. He got the second. We're fine. But all over the place now. We're going off the rails, man. We've been recording for over an hour and a half now. We're pushing 100 minutes of recording. It's insane, dude. If you're still here at this point, if you're still listening at this point when this releases, thank you. You are a dedicated listener, and I owe you a beer and a kiss on the lips. Maybe a kiss on the cheek. Maybe just a peck on the cheek. How about that? But Michigan at USC, that could be a sneaky, really good matchup. I'm still not sold on Michigan's offense yet against quality opponents. And hey, I don't know if USC is a quality opponent. They're both 4-1, but I don't know how quality of an opponent USC is. So I just think that's a really interesting matchup. I have zero clue on how that game's going to go. USC is actually favored in this game. That could be the home field. USC was a 2.5 point favorite at home against Michigan. That's very interesting, but that'll be one to watch for sure. If you're just looking for a game at 7:30 night to watch, which you might be, because that slate doesn't look great, doesn't look appealing. How about that? But final matchup for that I want to watch is Arizona State Utah. That is a late kick. That kicks off at 10:15 because it's in Utah, and even if it was in Arizona, different time zone. But that's in Salt Lake City. That is a really good matchup, dude. Arizona State is ranked. Utah is not, because they lost to Texas Tech and they had a bye week. But Arizona State's 21st. Utah's unranked, but they're both 4-1. You know, that's a really good game, man. I'm excited to see how that plays out. Kenny Dillingham against Sam Levitt's line offense. Give it to me, man. You know, like it's a really good week of college football. NFL has like 2 or 3 really intriguing matchups for this week, like really intriguing. College football, NCAA, you know, NCAA has a ton of really good matchups, man. Like overall, it's a hell of a slate. I'm super pumped. I've been rambling forever all night. It's 9:30 now. I gotta get this uploaded and exported so I can get it uploaded for y'all to listen to it. Again, we've been all over the place, but leave comments on what you guys want me to listen to. You know, I had the nicknames for the hot dogs. Oh yeah, also comment how many hot dogs you think I can eat. I think I'll buy 2 packs, because if maybe I can dabble in double-digit territory. I have no idea how this is gonna go. I really don't. I have zero clue how this is gonna go. But comment how you think this will go. How many hot dogs do you think I'll down? And it's gotta be whole hot dogs. I'm not counting halves. I'm not counting partials. Okay, but love you guys. Hope you guys enjoy this marathon episode, and have a great weekend, man. Enjoy some football, enjoy some baseball, enjoy some brews, enjoy your family, enjoy everything.